with the GDPR regime, and I am sure that we will all strive to do so. Urgent question, Emily Thornberry.
To ask the Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs to make a statement on the violence at the Gaza border and its impact on the Middle East peace process.
That's the BBC, the British Bullshit Corporation. Horse manure everywhere. Have a listen to this. This is important. I flagged this up a bit earlier on Twitter. I said you won't believe your effing ears. But I'm so glad that I was able to catch this morning. Rosena Alin is a Labour Member of Parliament and a doctor. Now, she isn't the first doctor to enter politics, although, strangely, nobody ever asks general practitioners, particularly younger ones like Alin Khan, why are you an MP, love? Why go through med school to become a doctor and then to become an MP? Why did you do that? It's a question they're rarely, if ever, asked. Anyway, Rosena Alin MP and GP is Labour's Shadow Minister for Mental Health. Now, she's a GP, not a psychiatrist, but anyway. This might be the most important thing you hear today. And it's the reason. I'm not grandstanding now. I'm not important. I'm a big, ignorant, baldy gammon of a bollocks. And you know that. But the reason this show exists is for the next 5 minutes. She went on the Sophie Ridge show this morning, and here is the very first question put to her by Sophie Ridge.
I know you've been doing some shifts in the Nightingale Hospital in London. What's the situation been like most recently? Right.
You've been doing some shifts in the Nightingale Hospital in London. What's the situation been like recently? Labour MP Rosena Alin Khan, feast your ears.
The staff there are absolutely incredible and are a committed team. And this week on my shift, I was working with the Family Support Liaison team. And it really gave me the insight to see how this virus has been stripping families of the ability to grieve, of humanity. And the setup that they have at the Nightingale is phenomenal. We spend the day phoning patients' families, and I've been a doctor for many years, but there is nothing more heartbreaking than delivering the very worst of news over the phone. And on some occasions, we are able to bring a family member through to say goodbye, but we're only allowed to bring one person in. And imagine now for a family having to decide who is that individual that is able to go in and say goodbye, accompanied by a member of the team like myself. That is a crippling decision to make. And I found myself coming home heartbroken and asking myself, how much of this could have been avoided?
You did hear it, didn't you? Shall we hear it again? But the salient bit.
The setup that they have at the Nightingale is phenomenal. We spend the day phoning patients' families, and I've been a doctor for many years, but there is nothing more heartbreaking than delivering the very worst of news over the phone.
What kind of fuckery is this?
The first question asked by Ridge.
I know you've been doing some shifts in the Nightingale Hospital in London. What's the situation been like most recently?
The answer?
The setup that they have at the Nightingale is phenomenal. We spend the day phoning patients' families, and I've been a doctor for many years, but there is nothing more heartbreaking than delivering the very worst of news over the phone.
You've just heard a lie so massive and so outrageous that it should be the end of Rosena Alin Khan's medical, political and professional career. The Nightingale Hospital in London is empty. The Nightingale Hospital in Manchester at Manchester Central is empty. And in a tidal wave of bullshit, Rosena Alin Khan said that when she is at the Nightingale, she spends the day phoning people from the Nightingale, telling them their loved ones have died. Not treating people, making phone calls. This is breathtaking. in its mendacity.
The setup that they have at the Nightingale is phenomenal. We spend the day phoning patients' families, and I've been a doctor for many years, but there is nothing more heartbreaking than delivering the very worst of news over the phone.
Wow. Jimmy? What was that? She's lying. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? After a bit of farting around, where Alin Khan blamed the Conservative Party and the government for not being prepared, and after she bitched a bit about masks and personal protective equipment, Ridge, God help her, actually does her feckin' job and brings the chat back to the Nightingale. Yeah.
Cases have started to come down according to the official figures. I just wonder if that's been your experience working in A&E on the front line. I mean, there have been reports as well that the Nightingale Hospital in London has been largely empty.
There's reports that the Nightingale Hospital in London is largely empty. Wait until you hear the sharp intake of breath by Rosena Alin Khan.
Reports as well that the Nightingale Hospital in London has been largely empty.
Shit.
Look, I've been working at St George's in Tooting. That's where I work in the A&E.
I've been working at St George's in Tooting. That's where I work in the A&E.
Nightingale, obviously, it's an intensive care setup, but in...
What?
Look, I've been working at St George's in Tooting. That's where I work in the A&E. In the Nightingale, obviously, it's an intensive care setup, but in the A&E departments, my colleagues and I have been finding that the number of patients, worryingly, is going down for other illnesses. My plea to anybody watching your show today, Sophie, would be...
Oh, let's swerve away from the fact that the Nightingale Hospital is empty and that you are not spending your days there phoning people and telling them their loved ones have died. Let's swerve and start talking about the fact that people are not coming to A&E with other problems because they're worried about the virus. A lie so monstrous, so outrageous, so mendacious that it should be the end of Rosena Alin Khan. Never has a chance been served up to a television presenter as it was served up to Sophie Ridge. You want to make your career, Blondie? Dear Sophie, take her to the fucking cleaners. Lying about making phone calls to people, consoling them. Imagine it. Hello, this is Rosena Alin Khan, MP. I'm working in the Nightingale Hospital. I just thought I'd take the time to phone you to tell you that your husband Billy has passed away. It's disgusting. And here she swerves the massive gaping hole in the ground she's about to fall into by swerving to talk about the fact that people won't go to A&E.
It would be, if you have chest pain, if your child is ill, if you are worried that someone you love have got symptoms of a stroke, please go to the emergency department. We are ready and waiting for you. We don't want to see...
Blah, 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 blah. Please go to A&E. At this stage, Sophie Ridge should say, stop there a second. Ms. Alin Khan or Dr. fucking Alin Khan. Stop. Let's rewind a bit. Let's go back to where you told me that you spend your days at the Nightingale Hospital in London, which is empty, phoning people to tell them their loved ones died. And when I pointed out to you that the hospital is pretty much empty, you swerved the question. Have you come onto my programme this morning and dropped a whopper of a lie on my audience? And if so, why? Why are you lying? She lets her rabbit on. And rabbit on.
A rise in deaths come out of the people who were too afraid to go to hospital because they were worried about contracting COVID-19.
Yeah, there's certainly been some concerning reports about cancer treatment being delayed, A&E attendance dropping. Do you think at some point there might be a tipping point where actually there is a risk of more deaths effectively being caused by the lockdown than by coronavirus?
Sophie Ridge is about as useful as tits on a bull. Fucking useless. A shadow government minister has come onto your programme and told a story, a pile of horse manure so fucking big you could stack it 1,000 feet high. And when caught in her lies, she starts running away, trying to change the context of the conversation, and you just sit there and allow her away with it. It's shocking. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I fantasize about the past, maybe I think too fondly of the past, but I know the presenters that I produced would have taken her to the fucking cleaners and would have ended her career on national television. I couldn't believe that this morning. I mean, come on. I've trained for City and Guilds. I've trained presenters. I have. And I had some right fucking idiots in my classes. But they would never have missed that. Never in a million years. That's an open goal, that. That's beautiful. It's beautiful when that happens. It doesn't happen very often. I spend my days at Nightingale Hospital phoning people to tell them their loved ones have died. The hospital's empty, love. Go and fuck just fuck off, you know, fuck right off. Here's a tune, Sunday View with Richie Allen, the BBG, not the BBC for sure. Go on then, go on, it's too important. Let's hear it in sequence.
I know you've been doing some shifts in the Nightingale Hospital in London. What's the situation been like most recently?
Yeah.
The setup that they have at the Nightingale is phenomenal. We spend the day phoning patients' families, and I've been a doctor for many years, but there is nothing more heartbreaking than delivering the very worst of news over the phone.
Cases have started to come down according to the official figures. I just wonder if that's been your experience working in A&E on the front line. I mean, there have been reports as well that the Nightingale Hospital in London has been largely empty.
Yeah, lovely. Let's move on.